Condensed milk. Hunger made our envy dull and powerless, like every other emotion. We had no strength to feel, to seek easier work, to go out, to beg. We envied only our acquaintances, those with whom we had come into this camp world, those who had managed to find work in an office, a hospital, a stable, where there were no hours of hard physical labor. Celebrated on the front big signs of every gate as a matter of honor, glory, bravery and heroism. In a word, we envied only Shestakov. Only something external could pull us out of indifference, distract us from the slowly approaching death. External, not internal strength. Inside, everything was burned out, devastated. We didn't care and made no plans for further than tomorrow. And there it was again. I was feeling like going back to the barrack and lie down on my bunk. But I kept standing by the door of the grocery store. Only the convicted of ordinary crimes, as well as crime repeat offenders, classified as friends of folk, were allowed to shop there. There was nothing for us to do there. But we couldn't take our eyes off the chocolate-colored loaves of bread. The sweet, heavy smell of fresh bread tickled our nostrils. It even made our heads spin. And I stood there, didn't know when I'd find the strength to go back to the barrack, looking at the bread. And at that moment Shestakov called out to me. I knew Shestakov from the mainland, from Butyrka prison. I shared the cell with him. We were not friends there, just acquaintances. Shestakov didn't work in the mine. He was a geological engineer, and they hired him to work in geological exploration, that is, in the office. The lucky guy barely even greeted his Moscow acquaintances. We were not offended. Who knows what orders they might have given him about that? As a proverb goes, an own shirt is closest to the cell's body, and so on. Take a smoke, Shestakov said, handing me a scrap of a newspaper, pouring in some makolka and lighting a match, a real match. I lit up. I need to talk to you, Shestakov said. To me? Yes. We walked behind the barrack and sat on the edge of an old quarry face. My legs immediately felt heavy, but Shestakov cheerfully swung his brand new official half boots, which smelled faintly of fish oil. His trousers rolled up, revealing checkered socks. I observed Shestakov's feet with genuine admiration and even a touch of pride. At least one person from our prison cell wasn't wearing boot-foot wraps. The ground beneath us shook with muffled explosions. They were preparing the ground for the night work shift. Small stones fell on our feet, rustling, gray and unnoticeable like birds. Let's move a little further away, said Shestakov. It won't kill you, don't worry. Your socks will be okay. It's not about socks, said Shestakov, running his index finger along the horizon. How do you feel about all this? We will die probably, I said. The last thing I wanted to think about was that. Oh no, I don't agree to die. Well, I have a map, Shestakov said languidly. I'll take the work as you and we'll head to Chorny Kluchi. It's 15 kilometers from here. I'll have a pass and we'll go to the sea, okay? He told it all in a lazy, quick manner. And about the sea, must we swim? No matter. It's important to start. I can't live like this. Better to die standing than to live on my knees, Shestakov said solemnly. Who said that? Indeed, a familiar phrase. But I couldn't remember who said it or when. Everything bookish was forgotten. Bookish information was disbelieved. I rolled up my trousers, revealing the red scurvy sores. Well, here it is. You can heal your legs in the forest, Shestakov said. With berries and vitamins, I'll lead you there. I know the way. I have a map. I closed my eyes and thought. It's 3 routes to see from here, and each one is at least 500 kilometers long. Not only me, but Shestakov wouldn't make it. He isn't going to take me as a potential food there, no? Of course not. But why is he lying? He knows it as well as I do. And suddenly I was afraid of Shestakov, the only one of us who had found work in his field. Who arranged him there and at what cost? Everything has to be paid for after all, with someone else's blood, someone else's life. I agree, I said, opening my eyes, but I need to feed myself. That's right, good. You'll definitely feed yourself. I'll bring you some canned food, we do have a possibility, don't we? There are many canned foods in the world. Meat, fish, fruit, vegetables. But the best of all are dairy products, condensed milk. Sure, it shouldn't be drunk with a hot water. You should eat them with a spoon or spread them on bread or sip them from the can, slowly watching the clear liquid mass turns yellow, the sugar starts sticking to the can. Tomorrow, I said, breathless with happiness. Milk. All right, okay, milk. And Shestakov left. I returned to the barrack, laid down and closed my eyes. Thinking was not easy. It was some kind of physical process. The materiality of our psyches was becoming clear to me for the first time. In all its clarity, in all its tangibility. It was painful to think, but I had to think. He would gather us together to escape and hand us over. That was perfectly clear. He would pay for his office work with our blood, my blood. They would either kill us right there at the Chorny Kluchi Black Springs or bring us back alive and sentence us another 15 years of term. Sure, he couldn't help but know that escaping from here was impossible. But milk, condensed milk. I fell asleep, and in my ragged, hungry sleep, I saw that Shestakov's can of condensed milk. A huge, enormous can with a cloudy blue label. Monstrous blue like the evening sky. The can was pierced in 1,000 places, and the milk leaked and flowered like a white stream of Milky Way. And I could easily reach the sky with my hands and eat the thick, sweet, starry milk. I don't remember what I did that day or how I worked. I waited and waited for the sun to set, for the horses to neigh, who better than anyone else anticipate the end of the workday. The siren whistle blared hoarsely, and I went to the barrack where Shestakov lived. He was waiting for me on the porch. The pockets of his telegraph bulged. We sat down at a large wash table in the barrack, and Shestakov pulled out 2 cans of condensed milk from his pockets. I pierced the can with the corner of the axe. A thick white steam flowed onto the lid onto my hand. You should have punched a second hole for an air, Shestakov said. It's nothing, okay, I said, licking my dirty sweet fingers. Give me a spoon, Shestakov said, turning to the workers who had gathered around us. 10 shiny polished spoons were extended over the table. Everyone stood and watched me eat. There was no indelicacy or hidden desire to help themselves. None of them expected me to share the milk with them. Such a thing had never happened before. Their interest in someone else's food was completely automatic, and I knew that it was impossible not to watch food disappear into another person's mouth. I sat more comfortably and drank the milk without bread, washing it down with cold water from time to time. I finished both cans. The audience moved away. The show was over. Shestakov looked at me sympathetically. You know what? I said, carefully licking my spoon. I've changed my mind. Go without me. Shestakov realized and left without saying a word to me. That, of course, was a tiny act of revenge. Weak, like all my feelings. But what else could I do? Warn the others. I didn't know them, but I had to warn them. Shestakov had managed to persuade 5 of them. They escaped a week later. 2 were killed near the Chorny Kluchi, and 3 were captured and sentenced a month later. Shestakov's case was closed. He was soon taken away somewhere, and 6 months later I met him at another quarter camp. He didn't get any additional term for his escape. His superiors had played fair with him, and it could have been otherwise. He worked in geological exploration, was clean-shaven and well-fed, and his chest socks were still intact. He didn't greet me anymore. What a shame. 2 cans of condensed milk ain't such a big deal after all.